Hey guys, welcome to this week's video. Well, we have been delayed another week due to waiting on the well guy, but this week we're hoping again to be able to move out here. So the well guy is going to be here in a few hours to drill the well deeper, and hopefully he doesn't have another breakdown like he did last week. And so I'm going to get this water line laid in this trench that's across the driveway so that I can cover that back up. And then I've got some trenching to do. I rented a mini excavator for the day, so I can do my septic and the other water line. Alright guys, so I've finally got my septic line trench dug properly. So the well guy came out and they went down another 200 feet, but seems like they didn't hit any better water, or it's still about the same, about a quarter to half gallon a minute. So they're going to see if it fills up in the morning to a good place. They'll probably call it good, maybe go down another 100 feet. But if it's not good in the morning, then we'll have to go up on the ridge there and drill a different well. So that's what it is. As you can see, they've really been busy today. They drilled another 200 feet. So here I've got my first couple pieces put in here at the tank. Then I've got it sloping a 1/4 inch a foot up to the corner and all the way up to there where it's going to be poking out of the ground. All right, folks, it's a new day here at the homestead property. I worked pretty late last night getting the septic line put in. I didn't realize it at the time, but when I first did this, I just used a little trencher and dug a shallow trench in the ground for this, but I didn't know that it has to be a certain slope per foot. But then I learned that it's got to be no more than a 1/4 inch per foot of slope. So I had to rent this mini excavator and do an actual trench and get it to the proper slope. So I sloped it 1/4 inch per foot all the way up. Had to use a transit laser level to get that done. But now that's in and that is done. I think I'm going to pour some water down it just to test it and make sure it's good, and then we can backfill it. I also need to dig a trench or a hole or something for my yard hydrant, I'm going to put that right here somewhere as well. And then probably I'll run a ditch up around the driveway for that. And then I got to put in a water line, run to it as well. Alright, so now that we got the drain in, we got it cut off, water tested it, we're good to backfill this. The next thing I want to do is put a drain tile in over here next to the driveway, and then I can backfill that as well, that trench. So next I'm going to backfill this, and then I'm going to dig a hole here somewhere for the yard hydrant. There we go. So my water line's going to run into there, be attached to the hydrant there, and then my hydrant will run up. The reason we're doing that is because you got this little weep hole here that allows the water to drain out, and we want that to be completely surrounded by rocks. Get this all installed. We're going to fill the bucket up with rocks around this, and then we're going to put the lid on top and seal the opening so that we can prevent dirt from getting in there and filling up this hole here, because this is what keeps it from freezing, because it allows the water to drain out. Before we install that, I have to run to town and get some more PEX B water piping to connect it to the hydrant, and I gotta grab a PEX crimping tool as well. So I'm kind of stuck right now with that, so I gotta make a run to town. Fix the level again. Good that way. Alright, so we got the yard hydrant installed. We put this bottom part in rocks and sealed the top. Got the bucket lid all sealed with caulk so that dirt can't get in there and fill the weep hole so that it doesn't freeze. Now I just got to fill it around with dirt, and then we're ready to backfill this whole trench here. And the reason I put this PVC pipe on here is because I want to fill this with foam insulation so that it keeps it from freezing in the wintertime. I'm going to bring it up to about here and then drill some holes in it and spray some insulation in there. Hey guys, it's another day out here at the property. Yesterday and the day before we had our well driller back out here to re-drill our wells and drill some new ones, because the first one he drilled was pretty much dry. Then he drilled another one to 300 feet and that one was about the same. So they drilled a third one, had him drill a third one, and that one ended up being a little bit better, but we're still not sure if we're gonna have, any significant amount of water from that well. I checked it out this morning with a string and a weight, and I estimated that it's got water about 20 feet off the bottom, which is better than the other ones have been. but still not great. So we're gonna wait for a couple days and just keep checking it, see if the water level rises at all, and if it doesn't, we might have them take that third well down a little bit deeper, or else just give up completely. But we're praying and hoping that this third well will get us some water. So if you think about it, you could. And I've been taking this whole week off of work to work at the property so we could move out here. So now with the situation with the first two wells being dry, we're gonna have to wait a couple more days, and so that's kind of discouraging because it keeps getting delayed. But the other day you saw me put in the yard hydrant, if you've been following along, and I got the sewer line in as well. So today I'm going to put a cap on that, and I made this nice little oak box to kind of landscape around that. I cut this oak on my neighbor's sawmill. It's rough cut oak that I cut. There's a big tree. You can see the stump of it right over there. There's a big tree that we cut down, and I made it into boards, and some of it's on the mailbox out there, and here's some of it as well. So gonna glue a cap on here, this sewer pipe, so things don't get dropped or falling down in there. I'm gonna go do a little bit of work on the shed. Make sure that's clean. All right, there she is. Just gonna screw the cap on there. Nice. And there you have it. I'm quite happy with that. Now you might be wondering why I put PVC pipe around the hydrant. Well, my idea is to drill a couple of holes in this pipe and fill it up with great stuff foam insulation, and then I'll fabricate some kind of a metal cap to go on here and caulk it shut. And my hope is that that'll help keep this thing from freezing. Now if I did everything right below, it shouldn't freeze, but if we're hooked up to the RV and this is open, and we're using this full time, if it gets really cold and there's water flowing through this, I guess there's a chance it could freeze. So I just want this to be extra insulated. If it gets really, really cold, I'll probably have to run some heat tape around this part to keep it from freezing. Now, last winter we were living in our camper at a campground, and they had these hydrants that they had them all wrapped up in electrical tape and trash bags and just batten fiberglass insulation. We had a couple days where it was down around 0 and even 5 below 0, and I did use heat tape on my water hose to keep it from freezing in those temperatures. But most of the time, if the water is flowing just a little bit, it'll actually keep it from freezing, even if it's down into like the 20s. So I'm not really worried about it. I just want something to insulate that better. So I don't know if it's really necessary, but I did it. So over there is where they had the first well. I had some power and water line run in here across the driveway, but I had to dig this up, take those out again. But I do have the water line for the hydrant run from the shed all the way down underground here. And yesterday I did a ditch all the way over there to the yard hydrant, which I covered it back up yesterday. I dug it the day before. So here's a bit of a sad story with the storage shed. Unfortunately, the floor got wet when we still had just the floor framed, I think it was. I had put some underlayment on it, but it wasn't like a 10-foot roll of house wrap or something. It was just 3-foot rolls of underlayment, and so water got in there and made the floor wet. So I had to completely tear the floor out, basically gutted the floor. I ended up throwing away most of the 1/4-inch plywood that we had at the bottom, and I think I'm able to salvage most of the foam, but if you can't tell, it's got some mold on it. So the bottom plywood was all moldy. The flooring itself, like this stuff here, subflooring, was pretty good for the most part. I just set it up, kind of screwed it to the walls, let it dry out. So I think most of that's going to be okay, but it's a real bummer. I gotta leave soon, so I'm gonna get underlayment stuff put on the roof. I think it's called Astral Armor. It's like a foam with a tarp on it, basically. It's basically like an underlayment with a foam layer in between it and then a reflective side. So I'm gonna put that on and hopefully that'll help shed more water. And then tomorrow I should be able to put the roof on the shed. So I'll be getting some metal for the roof. So, all right, so I've got this stuff laid up here. As you can see, it's got a reflective side and a white side, and it's kind of a foamy substance, sort of like bubble wrap, but it's a lot stronger.